Well, we're sort of revisiting an old tactic. Not quite the same, but not all that different. You know what? Let's just head in and I'll explain everything. This one is called the Perfect Strangers 42112 WP102EF. Now, the reason I say it's not really all that different from one we've covered before is because we covered a couple of weeks ago the Perfect Strangers 42112MC P107AC. Now, Gerrard, he does a lot of these things, and it's kind of similar on this site that I get it from, where they'll take a tactic that works, they'll change things up to make it better, and then publish that as kind of a new tactic, and that's fine. That's what happens all the time. That's what keeps me around doing all these things. But the MC-P107AC, I'm just going to call it the AC, has some slight tweaks to this one that we're going to call the EF that we're covering today. So as you can see, this inside forward in support was in attack on the AC one, and this inverted wingback in support here was also in attack on the previous tactic, the AC. So we're going to check out how it does and how it's fixed on this one versus how it is on the previous one. This was from someone who left a comment in one of the previous videos saying, hey, can we try this one instead? So here I am trying it out, and we'll see what differs here. But we're going to check it out as usual with our three teams of Liverpool and Aston Villa in the Premier League and our championship side of Ipswich Town. So with all that said, let's just dive in and see how it worked. Well, last time out with the AC tactic, Liverpool in first with, 93 points. Aston Villa came in fifth with about 72. So definitely on kind of more the average mark, at least for Aston Villa. This time around, though, first and second, 95 points for Liverpool, 92 for Aston Villa, 116 to 101 goals. It seems to have worked very well. But now, obviously, you can't really compare apples to oranges. When you use a team and a single tactic 5, 6, 7 different times, you're going to get 5, 6, or 7 completely different results. So you got to really kind of get into the weeds, get into every match and do it yourself. Everything could change from the tactical changes that the assistant coaches want to make during the training, or even just during a match. Anything could happen, injuries. So you can't really compare the two tactics very well, however, but in this instance, it seems to work very well. So when we get to the domestic cup runs, though, for Liverpool against Aston Villa, funny enough, 5-0 thrashing Carabao Cup final victory. You get to the FA Cup semi-finals, though, 2-4 against Arsenal. And an absolute thrashing in the Europa League final, 7-2 over Roma. Wow. So yeah, 3 trophies is pretty nice out in the semi-finals in the FA Cup. I would say this thing worked very well. Squad-wise, yeah, about a good sea of green there. I probably could have done a little bit more, but we've seen less. So 31 goals for Jota, 27 for Salah, Nunez with 26, 23 for Gakpo, wow. Assists, 19 for Tsimikas, 16 for Salah, and then average rating, of course, Salah with a 7.41. But switching things over to Aston Villa's side, out immediately in the FA Cup third round, 0-2 to Luton Town, interestingly enough. They do brush past Ipswich, not too handily, but they still get there, get to the Carabao Cup final, which we already saw they got crushed by Liverpool. And a 6-1 annihilation of Atletico Pamplona in the Conference League final. Wow, that's a doozy. So yeah, overall, this is still a pretty good season for them as well. And the green is definitely there for this team. So, very nice to see. 31 goals in for Ollie Watkins. Diaby with 29, 24 for Zaniolo. Assists, 18 for Douglas Luiz, 15 for Matty Cash. And then average rating, Ollie Watkins with a 7.24. That's the tops. Interesting. Data Hub looking fairly standard for a Liverpool team, attacking-wise, defensively very nice. We are an incredibly hard team to score against and should walk over most teams in attack, of course. 305 goals per game, definitely should be walking over teams. 0.97 conceded, 0.99 XG against. Aston Villa looking fairly similar themselves. They are in the goals, so that's not too bad. It's definitely nice to see compared to what they usually do. 2.66 goals per game, 1.05 conceded, 1.23 XG against. Conceded's down. That's nice to see. Premier League stats, though, 2.5 points per game for Liverpool in first. Second place Villa with 242. Very nicely done for both. But again, first and second for most goals, 116 down to 101. Fewer shots against. Liverpool in third with 291. Aston Villa in sixth with 350. Most possession, sixth and seventh this time around. 54% for Liverpool, 53 for Aston Villa. Most dribbles made, sixth place Liverpool with 654, or 645, sorry, and 620 for Aston Villa. And most shots for Liverpool handily in first with 757, Aston Villa in second with 673. But now, of course, Ipswich is going to be in first, right? It's just a question of how much. Well, 18 points in front is not bad. 116 points, 141 goals. This clearly worked. I will say in the previous test, the AC test, they got 115 points and 153 goals. So they're kind of averaging out a little. But on their domestic front, we already saw them lose against Aston Villa, not by much, in the Carabao Cup semi-final first and second leg. They get to the FA Cup fifth round, but lose against Leeds 1-3. And a nice beating of Manchester United in the Carabao Cup third round and Nottingham Forest in the fourth round. Not bad at all. So overall, definitely not a bad season whatsoever. And squad-wise, yeah, maybe one or two more in the green than usual, but still not as much as I'd like to see. George Hurst with 32 goals, 24 for Connor Chaplin, assist 27 for Harry Clark. Leif Davis all the way down with only 10, interestingly enough. But average rating 7.46 for George Hurst, 7.45 for Harry Clark. Championship stats. Ipswich in first, of course, with 2.52 points per game, all the way down with Leicester to 2.13. That's a drop. But most goals in first with 141. Fewest shots against in third with 358. Most possession with 54%. Most dribbles made, tied for fifth in 760. And most shots for in first with 906. Wow. But now let's get to the tactic itself. Again, there's only a handful of changes. Maybe only the two changes, the inverted wingback and the inside forward. I want to say even the tactical style is fairly similar, if not spot on, to the previous one. But we're going to check it out anyway because that's what I said I would do. Sweeper keeper in defend is where we're going to start. Inverted wingback in support on the left, a fullback in attack on the right, ball-playing defenders in the central spots, a DM in support next to a Suga de Volante in attack next to a winger in support who does have that mark-specific position is that DR. This inside forward in support has that mark-specific position as the DL, and then a pressing forward in support next to an advanced forward in attack. Attacking mentality, in possession attacking with his narrow, approach play is pass into space, focus play down the left and the right, passing directness is shorter, tempo is higher, low crosses and run at defense. In transition, counter press, counter, distribute quickly and roll it out. And out of possession, a high press line of engagement, a much higher defensive line, trigger press much more often, prevent your goalkeeper distribution, get stuck in, step up more, and invite crosses. So overall, how did it do for our three teams? Yeah, it definitely worked. No question about it. The previous one did as well. 116 points here, 115 in the previous test. The previous test had more goals, but it was more attacking as well, with just a handful of attacking players instead of the support ones here. Aston Villa and Liverpool, yeah, first and second. Aston Villa definitely do a better job in this save than the previous save, but still, overall, it looks like it's nice. It looked like this one definitely worked. So let us know if you tried this version out versus the previous version, or if you tried both, let us know how it worked for you in the comments below. Here, it definitely worked like a charm. So that's it for me, Savvy FM, for the Football Manager blog channel, saying thank you as always for watching. Take care and enjoy.